What makes a dollar store stay in business?
Welcome to the fantabulous world of Extra Tug, full of educational and children-friendly content. If I asked you what's the most popular retail chain in America, you'd probably say something stupid like CVS, Walgreens, Dwayne Reed, or Walmart, or Target, or perhaps BJ's. Do you guys love BJ's? I love BJ's.
I do love BJ's. I actually think BJ's is so good. I like BJ's a lot. I know that's crazy. I like BJ's. Don't throw shade at BJ's. I like BJ's.
It's very popular, but holy shit,
I like blowjob. What? Who said that?
They not see that marketing wise. But the biggest retailer in the US by number of stores is actually Dollar General. In fact, there are more dollar stores in America than every Walmart, Target, McDonald's, and Starbucks combined.
That's crazy. What? There are more dollar stores than McDonald's, Starbucks, Target, and Walmart's combined. That's kind of insane. How do they stay in business? I mean, we're going to find out, but that's genuinely incredible.
Dollar stores in America than every Walmart, Target, McDonald's, and Starbucks combined. Who doesn't love going down to the dollar store and picking up a new flavor of Faygo? Look, they got cotton candy flavor for only 25 cents. A fitting price for such a disgusting abomination. Oh no, it's not 25 cents, it's $1.25. Well, that's a little it's a dollar store. Why are we going over a dollar? What for a Faygo? What the f? I just don't get how you're gonna lie about selling things for $1 and then not only that, sell me something that should be literally a nickel. It's cotton candy Faygo and you're gonna charge $1.25 for that? Have some credibility. But that's just the thing. Hardly anything in the dollar store actually costs $1 anymore. They're all liars. They all sell things more than $1 and it's in their name. It's damn right unconstitutional. It's like if you found out I had a super small I mean, my name's Big Tug. I gotta be packing down there. And honestly, I can't think of one good reason why the dollar store would need to charge more than $1.
I don't know. I mean, I can understand with inflation why dollar stores would need to charge more than $1 to be able to stay in business. And maybe that is the answer. And maybe that is how they're staying in business, is they aren't charging $1 anymore. But when I was younger, it was $1. Like, it was set at $1. Like, it was not going to be more than $1, excluding tax.
Inflation, that's made up, print more money. But still, with prices so relatively low, it's no wonder that studies show nearly 90% of Americans have shopped at a dollar store in the last year alone. However, other research suggests that as many as 36% of shoppers use these stores at least 3 times a month. And between 2008 and 2020, food sales at these stores nearly doubled. Now, is it because that's really sad because financial times hit hard and we had to get our meat at a dollar store? Yes, that's why it happened, I would assume. Loves the pores, Teddy. Honestly, if everything's going so good all the time, sounds like you could probably afford to keep your under $1 there, Ted. But considering today's dollar is worth 47% less than it was 25 years ago, Ted's fabulous bad time seems to be here to stay. Tuglets, it's time to dig between the cushions of your couch and find the spare change, because today we're taking a trip to the dollar store and we're gonna figure out what the hell's going on over there. Anymore, I remember going between the cushions and getting ice cream money for the ice cream truck when I was a child. Kids don't have that anymore. Chris, you can go to the next segment whenever you want. I'm just gonna be talking about the ice cream man for a while. The roots of discount retail.
Why is he talking about the ice cream man for a while? Dude, you guys know that horror game with the ice cream guy? Hang on. Like, that's actual cinema. I feel like I might know who you're referring to. Yeah, the ice cream horror guy. Hang on, let me get a photo of him. Also, why is my PNG not here? My PNG has not been here for how long? I don't know why it's not letting me drag and drop it. This guy from this horror game. I don't know if anyone remembers this horror game. I remember it when I was really young. Not when I was super young, but when I was younger. I remember this coming out. And I don't know if that horror game even went anywhere because I haven't heard of it ever since. So I don't know if it ever evolved or went anywhere. But I remember that being a thing. I don't know. I remember that being a guy. Like, that was some guy, you know? I don't know. It's just interesting, I guess. Maybe it didn't go anywhere, and that's unfortunate.
So far that they predate the era when $1 was considered cheap. It's hard to think about now, but there was a time in America when a crisp George Washington was actually worth something and not filling up space in your pockets. What are you gonna get for $1 nowadays? A cow tail? Plus, Chris, put up a picture of a cow tail. They're delicious, but they're fucking disgusting. Back in 1788, $1 was worth $30. You think I don't get money. How can that be true? Which is why the first discount stores were actually called 5 and 10 cent stores. Hey, nah, you see? The first of which was created in 1878 by the most 1878 name I've ever heard in my life, Frank Winfield Woolworth. Holy shit, that is an entrepreneur.
That is an entrepreneur. That's a crazy name, honestly.
Woolworth did live up to his name, however, becoming wildly successful by creating the first 5 and dime stores. The business model was so lucrative that it was quickly duplicated by other stores, spawning some of America's first chains, including what would eventually become the 20th century retail giant Kmart. Remember?
Oh, so he founded Kmart as well. He founded Kmart. Yeah, interesting.
Kmart, that's why I said 20th century giant, because that's not around no more. They failed spectacularly. Maybe I'll make a video about that one day, but we're going to be talking about the dollar store today. But of all the 5 and dimes, none were as successful or as influential as the 20th century Ben Franklin stores. Now, naming your store after a founding father...
I feel like I've heard of that store name before. Ben Franklin. I swear I've heard of that store name. I know it's a real person. Benjamin Franklin, I know. But I'm pretty sure Benjamin Franklin was a founding father, right? I think so. I don't remember if he was. I know he was important. I know that much.
Bold move, especially when you're picking Benny Franklin, because that dude was a pervert. I mean, not only did he invent lightning rods, bifocals, and glass instruments played with wet fingers called the harmonica, so in his honor, we decided as a country to get together and name a cheap little fucking store after him, and I'm sure he would be thrilled if he lived to see the day. Ben Franklin stores were everywhere. At the company's peak, they operated 2,500 locations, and in 1945, a World War II veteran named Sam Walton bought a Ben Franklin in Newport, Arkansas. The store was sold to Franklin for $25,000, and the sellers apparently were quoted as saying, "This dude's buying a lemon." That's not a direct quote. They wouldn't say this dude, but they did call the store a lemon. If you don't know what a lemon is, it's something that's right out the gate and he's probably gonna fail. But what nobody saw coming was the business IQ of this fucking shell-shocked war veteran. In 3 years, Walton's annual sales topped $250,000, which in today's money is about a trillion billion jabinka joints, because that's a lot of money back then.
Yeah, that is a lot of money back then. Like back in the old days, money was worth so much more than it is now.
Walton struck out on his own, creating a little store called Walmart. That's right, the basic principles of Walmart, one of the world's largest retailers, were fine-tuned in the dollar store, where Walton learned the pricing, merchandising, and layouts that would influence the Walmart model. And you guys know the Walmart model. It's perfect. You get the candy at the checkout aisles, you sell guns in cages next to baby formula. It's perfect. It's America. But it isn't just Walmart that claims roots in the Ben Franklin stores. This shit was wildly influential, turns out. In 1953, a Ben Franklin was purchased by K.R. Perry, whose son would eventually take up the family business by opening up a Dollar Tree in 1986. Remember the Dollar Tree? It's the whole point of the video. I've been ignoring that. I can write a script for the of me, but I'm glad I hope you've been enjoying this. Hope you get all your fun facts. I am burnt out, guys. I can't do this forever. But it was 3 decades earlier, in the 1950s, when dollar stores began to take the shape we recognize today. Dollar General opened up in Springfield, Kentucky in 1955, and Family Dollar of Charlotte, North Carolina followed just 4 years later. Dollar General expanded to 29 stores and was doing annual sales of $5 million just 2 years after opening. And
5 million? Wait, after how many years of opening?
29 stores and was doing annual
2 years? $5 million in 2 years? From a dollar store? How? Genuinely, how? Because if everything's a dollar, or, you know, like around a dollar, how are they able to make so much profit? I don't know. I just don't get it.
of $5 million just 2 years after opening. And Family
Dollars
Dollar
add up,
opened 100
yeah.
stores in its first decade, and then they opened up another 100 stores just a year after that. They were booming, exponential growth. Chris put up a chart. The 50s facilitated their spread because of the growth of the American suburbs and small towns after World War II. Dollar stores filled that gap of affordable and convenient shopping. Come on down, we're selling hams today. Plus, big box stores like Walmart, they weren't even existing yet. You had to wait a decade for that shit. And even when they did, they tended to grow at a slow slower pace. But this was the genius of the dollar store, and the reason they spread across the country like a weed. They require so little overhead, gang. So little overhead. Their buildings, inventories, and employees are a fraction of those needed by regular retail shops. Because I'll let you in on a little secret, okay? If you have an entire store dedicated to shit that costs less than $1, you can only imagine how little that costs to actually produce and sell. They were making a crazy margin on all this shit. Smaller footprints allows them to thrive in communities often overlooked by bigger retailers and places where it isn't practical or profitable to run a Walmart. And
I guess, yeah, most of these are located in oversaturated low-income areas. Yeah, that's true. It's just, I don't know, that's kind of insane. Like, that's a lot, you know? Like, they made a lot of profit.
these places that I just described also happen to be full of the most desirable clientele for the dollar store, the poors. Dollar General CEO Ted Vasso says that their average customer is a woman in a dual income household that earns less than $40,000 before taxes, yikes, and has only about $800 of disposable income per year. It's not a great situation to be in. This makes
Yikes. I guess that's what the dollar store achieves, is that it achieves affordable for families who need it. And that's the selling point, is that it's affordable.
Of rural America a prime spot for their industry. However, 75% of Americans nowadays do live within a 5-mile radius of a dollar store. So how does that amount of expansion make sense with the average demographic of a discount shopper? These dollar stores aren't just in the shanty towns, they're in nice suburbs, and they're around the rich people. So how's that going down? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of show where I bring up the fact that shit's pretty bad right now, and it's been pretty bad for a while, and it doesn't look like it's getting better. The rich people are poor now. We're A Pew study found out that in 1971, 61% of Americans lived in middle-class households, which earned 2/3 of all income. And in 2023, only 51% of Americans were middle class, which earned less than half of all income. And I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers out here. It gets a little confusing when you start thinking about how bad things actually are, but they're important in this discussion because you can quote me on this. Chris put up on the screen, numbers are business. That's the first thing they teach you in business school. You like numbers? Because that's business. What I'm saying is the middle class...
That's true. Numbers are business.
Class is shrinking, and that's a great thing for people who own dollar stores. This leads us to the consequences of the dollar store strategy. While they often like to position themselves as businesses that...
Okay, hang on. That's kind of insane. Birthday cards and such being $1 is so insanely affordable. Like, if you were to go right now to try and get a gift card for someone, or not a gift card, but like a kid's birthday, a Mother's Day card, a Father's Day card, Valentine's Day card. If you were to try and go get a card, that would easily cost you somewhere between $8 and $12. Like, that is extremely affordable. And I know that obviously this photo was probably taken years and years ago, but that's still insane to think that. Like, I remember there was a Mr. Beast video where one of the contestants had a store. They were stuck in a store and they had to sell product at the end. They were able to make $10,000 worth of money by selling only these cards. Like, that puts into perspective how expensive they are. That he was able to take all the cards and it totaled at least $10,000. Like, that is insane to think about.
Us to the consequences of the dollar store strategy. While they often like to position themselves as businesses that do good for the community by helping consumers stretch their dollar while providing access to shopping in underserved areas, they actually play a role in destroying local communities, and we're going to talk about that. As dollar stores aggressively expand, they're no longer just filling in needs for rural towns and small suburbs, they're competing with local grocery stores and effectively wiping them out. Dollar stores often open up right next door to local businesses, and you can't compete with someone selling a $1.25 cotton candy Fago. Reports suggest that it's typical for mom and pop sales to drop by roughly 15 to 30% after a dollar store opens, driving many of them out of business.
Wow. Yeah, that puts a lot of people out of business, because how are you supposed to compete? Because if you lower your prices even more than that, you're not going to be able to make profit. Like, you're not competing against that, you know? That's not something you can, I don't know. That's just not something you can work with.
Studies have found a substantial decline in the number of grocers within a 2-mile radius of new dollar stores, which lead to food deserts. And that's when an area it's really hard to get good, healthy food, so they have to go to like 7-Eleven and buy donuts in order to survive. It's a big issue, and dollar stores contributing to that. And this cycle continues as fewer grocery stores mean more business for dollar stores, leading to more dollar stores opening, destroying even more grocery stores. Dollar stores have a penny pinching reputation that's made them a favorite among thrifty and low-income households, but that reputation might actually not be warranted. After all, if you think about it, these stores are making an insane amount of money. In 2024, Dollar General's net sales topped $40 billion, while Dollar Tree raked in $17.6 billion, and Family Dollar made $13.25 billion. How could a business that keeps inventory so cheap make so much goddamn money? One of the most common tactics dollar stores use to increase profit margins is shrinkflation. A very chuggy term, a very millennial term, but it's actually real, so we gotta pay attention to it. The term was coined in 2009 to describe the practice of charging the same amount of money for a product while slightly shrinking its size.
Oh, that sucks. That's probably why there's so much air in like chip bags. Like it just reduces the quality or the quantity of items inside the bag, but keeps it the same price. So if you were to buy a bag of Cheetos at the dollar store, you would have less Cheetos than if you had bought Cheetos at a grocery store. Sure, it's cheaper, but you're getting less. So I don't know. I guess that's how they stay in business, is they just make everything a bit less.
Studies find that consumers are less likely to stop buying a product due to shrinkflation than due to a price increase. But shrinkflation explains why many consumers might not realize that in 2022, Gatorade changed the side of its standard bottle from 32 ounces to 28 ounces. Gatorade! Come on now, I need that lemon juice, I need that yellow juice in my body when I get a cold. But unfortunately, shrinkflation is a strategy that dollar stores use to exploit the vulnerability of their primary customer base. Now, considering practices like shrinkflation are going on, it's kind of hard to think about if you're actually saving any money shopping at these stores. And that's why we came up with a brand new game to help you navigate the discounts in the dollar store aisle. It's time to play Deal or No Deal. That cannot be right. That's already taken, Jimmy. You that up. I can't say that. That's a copyright. All right, that's why
Yeah, that's copyright, man. You can't I love that show. You can't do that, man. That is not cool.
we're playing a brand new game called Thrifty or Shitty. Well, I can't say that over and over.
That's a great name, actually. I like that name. No, stick with that, please.
Demonetized. Thrifty or Shifty? You dropped the ball on this one, Jimmy. The rules are simple. I'll show you a dollar store item, and then you get to decide whether it'd be cheaper to just get it at a local grocery store. Challenge number 1, mayo. Put it on the screen, Chris. Got a jar of mayo. This 8-ounce jar of Kraft real mayo sounds like a steal at $1.25, which equals about 15.625 cents per ounce. Holy, what a
15 cents an ounce. My guess is that the grocery store, you're getting more mayo equivalent per ounce. That's my guess, is that they basically make all the containers so small at dollar stores that that's definitely shifty, I think.
But honestly, I've never heard of mayo coming in an 8-ounce increment, so I'm already confused and a little bit suspicious. I also hate how it immediately labels itself as real. I know they're trying to differentiate themselves from mayo, what's that shit, Miracle Whip, which is disgusting, but I hate when anyone put, made with real sugar. I fucking hope. What kind of fake sugar can you use? I don't know. Calling it real mayo makes it seem like it's a naturally occurring element on this earth instead of being whipped up with a shit ton of oil and eggs. Like, it doesn't grow on a tree, gang. It's not... real is a big word. Okay, so it's time to decide, Tuglets. Thrifty or shifty?
Definitely
survey
shifty.
says a 30-ounce jar of mayonnaise runs about $40 at my local grocery store, which comes in at about 13.3 cents an ounce.
No.
Some of you geniuses out there would notice that is less than the number I said earlier about the dollar store mayo. So you get even though it seems cheaper, you're just buying less. All right, number 2, Thousand Island dressing. I'm pretty sure that's what they put on Big Macs. I've never had it on a salad. Again, we have an example of a weirdly small bottle, with this dressing again costing $1.25 for an 8-ounce bottle, or 15.625 per ounce, cents, whatever.
Yeah, but...
So anyway, thrifty or shifty? Answer, it's a little weird, actually. For complete transparency, the 8-ounce bottle available at the dollar store was Kraft, a name brand. And with that in mind, my local grocery store carries a 16-ounce bottle of Kraft Thousand Island for $4.29, which is approximately 26.8 cents per ounce. And that would make the dollar store version of this thrifty. However, if you're already shopping at the dollar store, I don't think a name brand is much of a concern, in which case you can get a generic Thousand Island for $2.49 or 15.5 cents per ounce, which makes the dollar store version of Thousand Island dressing shifty. So I guess you just gotta pay attention to, you gotta bring a calculator to the store, which is so fun when I'm shopping at a discount store. All right, challenge number 3, ramen, the cheapest thing on earth. I remember back when these were 29 cents a
Oh yeah, no, ramen used to be so cheap, dude. Ramen, like that is how you made it through college as a kid and like as a millennial. Like that is how you made it through. I remember stories of just eating ramen because it was like super cheap.
Ramen is pretty much the cheapest way to keep yourself alive on this planet, so I was a little surprised to see this stuff at the dollar store charging $1.50 per pack. That is so much money. You just buy a can of soup for that. But it's a 5-pack, so if you do the math, each one's only about 30 cents, and that's a screaming good deal for a bowl of soup. But ramen noodles occupy a weird space in the culinary world. The type you make at home is incredibly unhealthy, accounting for 72% of your recommended sodium intake per package, and the kind you get at a restaurant melts in your mouth, and it's the best thing on earth. So I don't get it. But one thing I noticed is a 5-pack of ramen noodles is a little unorthodox. Usually it's a 6-pack. So my suspicion flares are flaring. Is it thrifty or shifty? Answer. Okay, we might be splitting hairs here because ramen is already so goddamn cheap, but you can get a 12-pack at a standard grocery store for $4.99, which is over 41 cents a pack. So this is thrifty, but with a pretty big asterisk. Keep in mind that these bigger packs of ramen do always go on sale. In fact, while I was writing this, you could get a 12-pack of ramen at my local market for $2.99 or a little less than 25 cents a pack. So whatever. Frozen pizza, number 4. This was...
Oh, I buy so many of these actually. Red Baron pizza is a pretty solid option. Even today, that's a pretty solid option. Like, don't get me wrong, it's obviously not the best pizza in the world. I don't like how thin it is sometimes, but it is a pretty solid option. At least for me, I have that a decent amount.
This is one of the most shocking items I found in the store because each one of these pizzas is $5 each.
Though, that being in a dollar store is kind of insane, actually. Like, I didn't think dollar stores sold that type of stuff. I didn't think they sold, like, groceries. I thought it was just random, like, cards and random little toys and trinkets. I didn't think it was, like, straight up grocery, like, items.
It's a supreme pizza, but it's still a fucking frozen pizza. And it's not even DiGiorno, which is like the best one. So survey says thrifty or shifty, and I thought this was gonna be a slam dunk for shifty. No way could anyone in their right mind charge over $5 for a Red Baron pizza. But sure enough, they do. This same thing is being sold at my local grocery store for $5.99. $1 more for Red Baron. What happened to this country? I don't even know how we win this game, folks. I feel like we're losing, no matter what we do. How did it get so dark? This was supposed to be a fun history lesson about the dollar store. What's the next segment? Oh, good. The section is called The Human Cost of a Dollar Store. Fantastic. Dollar store.
The human cost of a dollar store? What does he mean by that? I mean, I guess we're about to find out, but what does he mean by that?
Aren't always a value for consumers, and they often hurt local businesses. But guess what? They are awful to their employees. 92% of Dollar General workers earn less than $15 an hour, which, just in case you weren't paying attention, $15 an hour is not livable anywhere in the United States anymore. You could be in Kansas and you're... Not only are these staffers underpaid, but they also have to work with the bare bones staffing. Oftentimes, dollar stores only have 2 people working at once. And
I mean, I know it's not a big store, but only 2 to 3 people per 7,500 square feet? Only 2 or 3 people working that? Like, they can afford to pay more if they're making in billions each year. Like, they can afford to increase the pay.
Things really complicated considering that they're always trying to sell balloons at the front of their store. Just one parent trying to buy a balloon for their child that they love will completely f over an entire shift at Dollar General. Not to mention that since there's only 2 people working, you basically have to do everything. You ring people up, you stock the shelves, you clean. Go to any grocery store, they have like 40 people doing all those jobs. There are people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year who don't even work remotely as hard. Former dollar store employees report being expected to work long hours with little or no overtime. So not only is this wildly exploitative, it's also extremely unsafe. Without time to take care of stocking, the merchandise piles up in the aisles. I don't know if you've been to a dollar store recently, but it looks like a fucking bomb went off. And federal safety inspections have repeatedly found blocked exit routes, fire hazards, and unsafely stacked merchandise. In 2024, Dollar General paid a $12 million fine to the government for workplace safety violations. And there were...
Ooh, that's a hefty fine. That That would encourage me to pay the employees more. If I got fined like that, I'd be paying them like 20 an hour, man. I would, if I were in charge of the company, pay them 20. I would rather pay them 20 than pay 12 million in fines.
Nothing changed. They were just like, yeah, we do that shit. Here's the money for it, but we're not. It's way cheaper to just not pay these people than it is to pay you guys. So
I guess that's true, but in my eyes, I think it's just better to pay them more. I mean, I guess in their eyes, it is cheaper to just pay the 12 million than it is to increase the pay per hour. But I don't know. Give them at least 17. You know, 17's a classic grocery store pay. 17 an hour is classic for grocery stores. I feel like it would be okay.
Exit is the least of your worries at the dollar store. Because of their lack of security and small numbers of employees, they get robbed all the fucking time. There's any 50-50 coin flip if you walk into a dollar store. It's currently in the middle of a mugging. In Dayton, Ohio, 81 criminal incidents were counted by police at dollar stores in 2023. And while the majority of them involved theft, several of them were robberies. Robberies are incredibly common at the dollar store. And I know they're an easy target because they got one dude called Todd running the shop, but how much money could you squeeze out of a fucking dollar store? I'm sure they have $20 in cash behind the register, but man, they think it might be worth it because people fucking die a lot during these. According to data from the Gun Violence Archive, 172 people have been injured in Dollar General stores since 2014, and nearly 50 have died. That's
50 deaths at dollar stores. Jesus. That's insane. Like, who thinks to themselves, I'm going to rob a dollar store instead of just robbing like a straight up grocery store where you're going to get more product for robbing, more sales, more profit. Like, that's just, I don't know, man. That's weird.
too many. I mean, death is always a tragedy, but we're averaging 5 a year here. One Ohio Dollar General employee named Dave Dukes actually experienced 3 armed robberies, so many that the company sent him to other stores in the region to train employees on how to handle themselves while a gun is being pointed at them. But after his 3rd robbery, Dukes hit his limit and he started bringing a gun to work. I don't fucking blame him. And of course, he got robbed again at Dollar General and he shot the dude and killed somebody. All of this over cotton candy Faygo. All right, this is
honestly, that should be classified as self-defense, right? Because he's on his property, which is, he's being paid to be on the property, so it's technically his property. Surely that counts as self-defense, right? Like, I'm sure it doesn't. It definitely should count as self-defense. If you're being held at gunpoint, you should be allowed to, like, hurt the other person to be able to make sure you stay safe. Because you never know if they are going to pull the trigger. Like, sure, if you pull it first, you're the bad guy, but you never know if they're going to do it first. And yeah, it does depend on the state. Thanks, chat. It really does depend on the state. Texas, I don't think they'd have an issue with that at all. I think they'd classify that as self-defense. But if you were to do that in something like, I don't know, Ohio maybe, where you don't even need a license to wield a gun in Ohio, I feel like it definitely varies.
bad. This was not as fun as I thought it was going to be. We got to make this fun. Okay, goofy dollar store names in other countries. That's more like it. Okay, we'll end on a fun note. We'll just talk about how the Europeans name their dumb shit. Like South Korea, 1,000 won shop. Like, make it $1. Why? Just cut the zeros off of it. Vietnam, 10K stores. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, that's kind of insane. Like, a dollar store being 10K? Like, does that mean the prices start to go in the millions at that place? Like, if their 10K is equivalent to $1, that means $100 is like, I don't even know. It's a lot. Like, why do you need so many zeros? That's a great point. Like, you can literally just cut the zeros off and it doesn't change anything.
Dollarama in Canada. That's fun. That's a fun one. The UK used to have a 3-penny stores, which sounds dumb, but now they have Poundland, which is where I took your mother last night.
That's peak, actually. Poundland. That's actually so peak. That's such a good name. Dude, I'm gonna injure you. I'm gonna take you to the Poundland. Me talking to my best friend, being like, hey, so you want to go to the Poundland? Like, you want to go over to the Poundland? Hello, you'll need a basket. Why does it say you'll need a basket up there? I don't know. Because you're buying so much that you need a basket, like, because it's so worth it and cheaper.
And of course, Poland has I have no clue. I don't know. Chris, put it on the screen. I have no clue how to say that. There's a 5 in there. Five's watch. Nothing like a little xenophobia to take the edge off. But before I go, I want to make one thing abundantly clear. I don't think it's bad to shop at the dollar store. I don't think that's a bad thing to do. And I'm not shaming anyone for doing it. You guys aren't the problem. That's absolutely fine. Sometimes you can really stretch your George Washington shopping at these fine retailers. However, I think it's important to realize just how these stores work, and that's by feeding off of our misery. They give less, they charge more, they destroy small businesses, and create practically death traps. As one retail researcher expertly put it, what the dollar stores are betting on in a large way is that we are going to have a permanent underclass in America, based on the concept that the jobs went away and the jobs are never coming back, and that things aren't going to get better in any of these places.
But yeah, okay. So that's fascinating. I guess that's something to keep in mind when it comes to dollar stores now, is the fact that it's just gonna, it's gonna put other businesses out. It's just not worth the money. Like, it seems too good to be true. And that can be said for a lot of things in this world. If something seems to be not to be 2T, what? Not the Minecraft server. If something seems too good to be true, if it's too good to be true, there's a high chance it's not. And that's just something to keep in mind, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I like doing reactions. Like, I always love learning new things, so reactions are pretty interesting to me. Like, for example, this video, right? This video was really good. It did what it needed to. Let me just swap scenes real quick. It did what it needed to. It actually, had a purpose, and that was to inform the people about what they're buying and how much it actually costs. I don't know. I found it really fascinating. I think it's really good, and I think that videos like this are really good things to talk about, because it is spreading awareness of things. It is more than just entertainment. Like, yes, it is entertainment, but it is also informing you of real issues with the dollar store and how they operate.